Raskin, and I come from a Hasidic home. I studied in the United Lubavitcher Yeshiva, and at the age of 13 we began to study Hasidic mysticism. And a great emphasis in mysticism is about heaven and earth. And therefore we were able to understand somewhat of the origins and the schedule of how it works in heaven, and more importantly how the soul comes from heaven and goes back to heaven, and the various stages that it has to go through when it goes into paradise. The soul originates in heaven and it comes down into the physical body. The journey of the soul is to overcome the physicality of the body and the desires of the animal soul that is also in the body. And because of that, the soul has no memory of heaven. Because if it did, it would not have a true challenge in the everyday world. And God wants the soul to overcome the temptations of the body and the desires of the everyday world. And because of that, the soul does not have the ability to remember its origins in heaven. Furthermore, according to Kabbalah, the entire soul does not enter into the body. 3/4 or 3/5 of the soul is in the body. 2/5 of the soul remain in heaven. And there's a string or a rope that connects the bottom part of the soul with the top part of the soul. And therefore, once in a while, when we get an inspiration, it's the soul, like a tug-of-war, that schleps the lower part of the soul to wake it up. And it feels this jerk, this emotion, which reminds it that it has to once again go back on track. It has to recalculate to be able to fulfill its mission on this world. And that's why it's so important in Judaism that every day we study the Torah. The Torah is not only God's wisdom, and not only a book of code of how we are to live our lives, but the soul, by the fact that it studies Torah, once again reminds itself, so to speak, of its purpose down here in this everyday world. And it is now in a very comfortable place. And the soul, by studying Torah, is now once again strengthened. It's like food for the soul. And therefore the soul has the ability to strengthen itself and overcome the unsurmounting challenges that it comes in contact with. And then it realizes, with the fact that it has the strength of the Bible and the Torah, that it truly can overcome all of these tests, and that these tests are not unsurmounting, but rather they are surmounting, and they can be overcome. And each time the soul is able to overcome new challenges, in essence, the soul is now tapping into deeper resources and is becoming stronger and stronger. And that is why the Talmud says that God does not give a person a challenge that he cannot overcome. If the challenge came in your way, it means that it's for you to overcome that challenge, and that you have the tools within you and the power to be able to overcome that challenge. Every human being has basically two souls. One is the godly soul, or the intellectual soul, and the other is the animal soul. The animal soul desires existence, and therefore it desires food, it desires shelter, it desires pleasure. The animal soul is not necessarily evil, but it is needy. The job of the godly soul is to use the animal soul to perfect the world and to bring kindness to the world. In other words, even in Judaism there are two schools of thought. Do we suppress the animal soul, or are we to use the animal soul and harness it for our benefit? The school of Musar primarily says the animal soul desires physical things and even lustful things, and therefore you are to suppress the animal soul. And that is, don't eat too much, and don't sleep too much, don't care about the body, focus on prayer, charity, Torah study, etc., etc. The Baal Shem Tov, which is the Hasidic philosophy, says that the animal can be harnessed. Just like the physical animal has more energy than the physical human being, so too the spiritual animal also has more energy. And therefore, if we can convince or harness that energy, not only do we have the power of the godly soul, but we have the power of the animal soul as well. And just like man driving on a horse, 1 horse or 8 horsepower can travel a further distance than walking, so too if you can harness the animal soul, and therefore eating kosher food or eating healthy food, you're able to add to the strength of the godly soul and truly accomplish much more in this world and for the soul. Another concept is that the soul is not only coming down for the soul. In essence, the soul is coming down for the body. In other words, to refine the body and to refine the world. Because ultimately, in the Messianic era, God will come down to the world and live together with the humankind of the world. And therefore, every time we do a good deed, we are creating another brick for God's home in which God can physically come down and dwell together with the rest of the world. So it's a double mission. On one hand, the soul gains points and the soul goes higher every time it does a good deed. But the ultimate purpose of the soul's descent into the world is to create a dwelling place for God down here in this world. And that will be revealed when Mashiach comes, when the Messiah comes, and God will reveal the plan of creation to the entire human race. We will see that all the good deeds that we did created this castle or this temple for God. And then man, according to Kabbalah, will live forever, soul in the body, for all eternity. Because the body was refined over the years by the fact that the body performed good deeds through charity, through the study of the Bible, through the study of Kabbalah, and through self-refinement. So the reward of the body is that the body now, instead of receiving energy from the soul, has the ability to give and feed energy to the soul. And that will be the paradigm shift between now and the Messianic era.
Okay.
After a person dies, then the soul goes to paradise. According to Jewish tradition, every Jewish soul will ultimately end up in paradise. Because the Talmud says there's no person on earth that is not filled and replete with good deeds like the seeds of a pomegranate. So even if the person did not do it intentionally, throughout a person's lifetime, he is definitely accumulating a lot of good deeds. However, depending on the intention of those good deeds, and also depending on the fact of what he did with his spare time, would depend how long the soul needs to be refined. The example that I like to give is, you have a clean white shirt, and then you indulge in eating delicious meatballs and spaghetti with a lot of tomato sauce. And as you're slurping in the spaghetti, the tomato sauce gets over your white shirt. So now you need to clean out that white shirt. So hell in Judaism is not considered to be something that is eternal, but rather hell is a temporary process of refinement. It's like a cleaners, sending the shirt into the cleaners. Now, according to Kabbalah, there are various types of hell. There's the hell of snow, and then there's the hell of fire. If a person is lazy in his life, he's going to go into the hell of snow, which is freezing, which is going to make him go faster. And for passionate sins, he's going to go into the hell of fire. So the hell is really a way to cleanse the garment of the soul, so the soul will be able to enter into paradise and appreciate the experience of this lofty and very pleasurable place. According to Judaism, according to the Talmud, and this is expounded much more in Kabbalah, when the Messiah will come, when Mashiach will come, after a short period, which could be about 40 years or even less, then the ultimate stage will be called the resurrection of the dead, Techiyas HaMesim, that the souls will return to the body. The concept is that being that the soul did all the good deeds through the body also needs to be rewarded. The soul was rewarded in paradise, but how does the body become rewarded? So the body will once again be resurrected, the soul will return into the body, and now the body and soul will receive its reward down here in this world. According to the later Kabbalists, meaning from the teachings of Isaac Luria of the 16th century, and this has also been the opinion of Chabad Hasidism, that this stage of resurrection will not be a temporary stage, but will be an eternal stage. That for all eternity the soul will be in the body. And the rationalization of this is that the body comes from God, and as we know it, it comes from the essence of God, representing the level of the Ein Sof, which is the infinite light. The soul, which is spiritual, represents the finite light. Any good deed you do by helping a human being or following a law of the Torah, of the Bible, we are creating another brick in this world that will allow God to dwell in His home. And obviously this is a figurative concept because God is already here. According to Kabbalah, God manifests Himself within the world, and there would be no living thing or even inanimate object that could exist without the fact that God is constantly recreating that object every moment anew. But yet God is now in a concealed state. And the objective is to bring God out of hiding into a revealed state, which will take place in the Messianic era. Grab every opportunity that comes your way to do good. And before you go to bed at night, ask yourself if I did something to help another person. And if not, don't go to sleep.